Holy, we can rebuild them! We have the technology, Batman! Tiki here, and I have been watching through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way, but that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
That's right, and tonight we are talking Season 2, Episode 22. Just a whole bunch of twos. 222. It's April Moon. Yeah. I like this one. I really do. I think it's a nice little standalone story. I'm assuming that these villains are not going to be back. I'm assuming it's going to be a one-off. I will say this. I don't like, as far as the actual like street hoodlums that are the center of the episode, as far as the antagonists go, I honestly think they're just okay. Like, they seem pretty generic as far as like this show has a bunch of like, like street hoodlum gangs, and these are just another one of them. The technology is cool though, for sure. But I think that the big thing that this episode does right is the Doctor character, because my God, Dragon, this guy might be one of the most sympathetic characters in the DCAU this side of like Victor Freeze. I mean, he very much, I really felt for him. I think the voice acting, just the genuine situation he was in, there were a few moments where my heart kind of broke for the guy. So I think just that genuine pathos of that character really elevates this episode for me. If it weren't for him, if the episode was just about, like hoodlums with cybernetic enhancements, like going around town and Batman has to stop them, I think this episode would be probably among the worst of the series, honestly. But because it's got that element with the Doctor, I think it really elevates it for sure. All right.
All right, a little bit of context. So, the director that worked on this was the great Butch Lukic. Done episodes like Spellbound and Lost Soul. Lost Soul was the, if memory serves, was the the bat suit coming to life episode. Remember? The writer that worked on this, Stan Berkowitz, writers from Burke, the Burke. Yes, of course, he did part 2 of Rebirth, A Last Resort, Sneak Peek, and Babel. Seriously, Berkowitz is like one of the secret weapon writers for Batman Beyond. He and Bob Goodman were very much like they were like, not obviously Dini being top tier, but just for in terms of our new blood, that these guys were they were top tier. Studio worked on this. Tiki, prepare the fainting couch.
God, the fainting couch?
Yes, prepare the fainting couch. Okay, get the cushy pillows, like those memory foam Tempur-Pedic pillows ready. Okay, because you're gonna want some marshmallowy pillows to go along with some cocoa and some Dong Yang, some marshmallows of comfort and security that are Dong Yang in a warm bath of cocoa.
I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to elevate this bit, Dragon. I think this bit is kind of like hit its apex at this point.
Okay, anyway.
All right.
So, there's not a whole lot of background on this, but one very notable thing to talk about, which I wonder if you picked up on.
Okay.
Tiki, I've been hyping up in the in the Bill Dozier thing at the end of last week. We had a returning cast. We had a returning guest star as the special guest star for this episode, who played Dr. Corso. Did you catch who that guest star was?
I'm assuming it was not Leonard from The Big Bang Theory.
He was in it, but not the guest star. He was Nux, the one with the big metal. The big metal hands. That was Johnny Galecki.
Got it. No, okay, I can't say that I recognize this guy.
Are you ready to have your mind blown?
Oh my God. Okay.
I was wondering if you were gonna pick up on this, and you didn't.
It's not like Hamill, is it?
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
But it's someone you can get really excited about, though. You ready?
Okay.
The reason this episode was so good, with everything you said, particularly with this actor,
With the
particularly
voice acting
with
specifically,
this voice
yes.
acting, it was none other than Ed Bigley Jr.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that makes
I've
sense.
been hyping this up because Ed Bigley Jr. is no stranger to the Batman universe.
Right.
He had 2 roles in Batman the Animated Series. He's popped up in other things such as Batman Forever as Fred, the Wayne Enterprises executive that Edward Nigma kills. But of course, from Batman the Animated Series, he was Germs, Roland Daggett's henchman, that Batman interrogated with the seawater for analysis, and most notably, most famously, one of the main reasons you get the man, Charlie Collins from Joker's Favorite, the episode that you're not far off the Mark Hamill thing. The episode was like the true blue Mark Hamill episode for Batman the
Sure.
Animated Series. That was like the real they wrote for Mark Hamill on that episode. That was like Ed Bigley Jr. His big again very unrecognizable from the man. The way he seriously 3 characters, Tiki. None of them sound the same. How impressive is
No,
that?
I've always kind of thought he's a bit of a chameleon for sure. So yeah, it is very impressive.
And of course, one of the main reasons we are jazzed out of our mind about Ed Bigley Jr. We know him from many things. The man is popped. The man's a journeyman of a character actor. He pops up in all sorts of things. But of course, we have a special place in our hearts for Ed Bigley Jr. because of his appearance on Better Call Saul.
Indeed. And Dragon, can I just take a minute? I feel like we need to address this. As of a couple nights ago, Better Call Saul officially a 0 Emmy winning show.
I'm upset.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel like we need to take like a segment in the memoir news to really iron that out, because I think that it's just fucked up. But we'll hatch that out later. Anyways,
The passing of a dream, we'll call it.
I mean, it's just like fucking no Succession though. Succession. I'm like, yeah, well, Succession's great, but anyways.
Succession had their time.
Well, yeah, it's. I mean,
Anyway.
Okay. Anyways.
Okay, so the other thing too. So actually, I don't know how coincidental this was or not, because you get the sense that Andrea Romano forgets no names, clearly. But by the same token, you have to give everyone kind of like fit them to the character and everything. And I have to ponder. So Ed Bigley Jr., we know him for a whole bunch of other things, a lot of nostalgic things, and a lot of like things that people like. I don't think a lot of people would historically go to. However, one of the roles early in Ed Bigley Jr.'s career that put him on the map was St. Elsewhere. It's like possibly his most notable role. He was Dr. Ehrlich on St. Elsewhere. And I know nothing of medical shows aside from The Good Doctor, so I can't really tell you
Literally,
anything
the only thing I know about St. Elsewhere is that isn't that the show with the twist where it's all in the snow globe or some shit?
Right. Anyway. So so the idea is you have Ed Bigley Jr. who plays a very notable doctor, and we have a very interesting doctor character. We need a good actor. I'm thinking just kind of the dots connected. Andre Romano's mind, like, well, we got Ed Bigley Jr. a couple times. Let's get him for this role. He plays it. Plus, he's playing a doctor. It'll be cute. So that said, there's only 2 other things to note. One,
Damn it, Spock! I'm a doctor, not a miracle worker.
Get those bagpipes out of here. I want to play my guitar. I don't want those stupid bagpipes throwing me off. I'm angry at Bigley Jr. Don't mess with me.
Oh my god.
So anyway, there are some similarities to this episode. There's some vague similarities to paging the crime doctor from Batman the Animated Series, in which we have a sympathetic doctor character who is kind of forced into helping out the mob, essentially. In this case, just kind of a lower tier criminal element. So a little bit of some parables to the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing to note is very underrated episode. No one ever talks about April Moon ever.
Yeah, I actually kind of find that a little bit surprising, because I do think that it's I wouldn't put it as like top tier in season 2, but I definitely think it's a very solid episode for sure. With some really memorable moments. So yeah, we'll get into it.
All right, all that said, let's dive right in.
Okay, so like I said, Dragon, when the episode starts out and we just get these hoodlums who are, robbing stuff, and they've got like the cybergenic technology, I'm like, oh boy, is this all this episode is going to be? Just Batman taking down another gang with some sort of gimmick? Was not a strong start to the episode for me, I got to admit.
Well, you got to admit, strong start or no, with just like, okay, so it's bionic thugs. Still, we have some jaunty Shirley Walker score, which is kind of interesting. We didn't use the synth music really this episode a whole lot. We primarily use like it just basically the episode is very much in a new. They're going for a noir vibe, and I think to capture that they had the music really assist with that in a big way. So we have like again, we've seen like moments like this before in Batman the Answers, like with Scarface and his gang. You had like a very jaunty, kind of like jazzy Shirley Walker score, and I think we're kind of replicating that here as we have Bullwhip and crew arrive at Gotham Jewelry Planet. Basically, this very giant, almost like giant department store of a jewelry place,
Uh-huh.
like either that or like a pawn shop on steroids, however you want to look at it. So gang's been outfitted with these really cool looking, very well designed bionic implants.
They are cool. I just think the characters are lame.
Well, that's true. I mean, I think it goes.
That's kind of like the trade-off, The actual designs are cool, but these guys are just giving me nothing beyond just generic hoodlums.
But that's the thing, though. There's nothing there. The only one who really gets any sliver of development is going to be Bullwhip, because he's the thing about it, Tiki. Oh, the only one who's named is the only one who's named is Bullwhip. The rest of them, you literally have to go in the credits to find out what they're called.
Oh God,
they are not named in the episode. Okay, so let me walk you through who's who. Okay, we got Bullwhip, who's Harold, who's the only one who gets development. Has like the cool kind of a Spider-Man sort of whiplash kind of effect, with like the little kind of tendrils worked into his wrist. Looks a really cool design. I'm a sucker. See, I love gadget. As you can imagine, I love this episode. Additionally, in addition to Ed Beagle Jr. for all the gadgetry and all the outfitting the bad guys with this these bionic implants and the technology and stuff, it's really cool. I love wrist mounted gadgets, so I did love Bullwhip. Terrapin is the giant. It's kind of an homage to Rhino from Spider-Man. You have like the giant, armored, the giant armored guy. So Terrapin like a turtle. Knee Jerk is the guy with the chainsaw, basically the early Chainsaw Man, if you will.
That guy was probably my favorite design, honestly.
Great design, highly impractical in a fight when you really think about it.
Right.
Anyway, so Knee Jerk, he's got chainsaws in all four joints. Then we have Nux. Nux is the Johnny Galecki, the newbie on the team who has like the giant knuckles that again look really cool when they come out, like the giant lead knuckles they can throws around there. As a kid, I did love that. How each of these guys was. I remember drawing these guys. I thought they looked so cool. Nice. Anyway, so the point being, we have these guys. They have street power. That's kind of the idea. That's the most interesting idea about them. But you're right. There's not really any longevity. They are one episode wonders, so we're not going to see them again. But in that spirit, it is kind of like it's kind of the technological version of splicing. So it is a really interesting idea.
Sure.
Considering where we've gone elsewhere with Jokers and splicers and the T's. Anyway, so they're robbing this jewelry place. Ideally, they're going after the perfect score, the big score. They cut through the vault and everything. Batman arrives. Very, not a lot of substance there. Well choreographed action. We're tossing. Also, I think there might be an homage to the group The Enforcers from Spider-Man. One of the first villains that Spider-Man went up against that Norman Osborn hired. There's basically a group of thugs that all had kind of a gimmick. One was a big guy, Ox, and anyway, point being like these little. I think it was like Ox, Fancy Dan. I'm blanking on who the third guy was because I think
Dan. Don't mess with Fancy Dan.
Yeah, you had Fancy Dan, Ox, and here's the thing: I keep thinking of Spectacular Spider-Man, which it was Montana, and then we made Montana into the Shocker. So I think he's supposed to be Montana either way. So I think just Spectacular made Montana into the Shocker. Anyway, point being, classic Spider-Man homage potentially in terms of what we're doing with this little group here. So they're fighting like Batman tosses this jewelry box, this jewelry drawer, if you almost like a safe deposit box, at Knee Jerk and just utterly shatters and just breaks his like the knee, the servos in the knee, and it looks painful, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. So then Nux hits Batman. I guess again, cool designs. Terrapin slams him into a wall. The gang escapes to flee the police to avoid like kind of a war with the cops on day one of their big heisting aspirations. Now they have like some power to take over the underworld. Batman snags a servo and he exits.
All right. Then we flash to a portrait of a beautiful looking woman against a moon. I wonder if she has anything to do with the title of the episode.
Get out of here, Tiki! Of all the presumptive things ever said on this podcast, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You should be ashamed of yourself for bringing that up. Just you cosmic dunce, my friend. I mean, dear God. Anyway, so like, what are we gonna do? Have her named after a failsafe or something? Get out of town.
All right, so we see the Doctor, and like even when he's not talking, just the animation on this guy, he's doing a lot of non-verbal acting.
This is a great introduction here, and it gives on time that we're getting the noir vibe and everything. Where you already are drawn to this character, you want to know everything about him. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. The Dr. Corso. Think about this, Tiki. He's not even sleeping. He's this guy can't get
right. That's how we're introduced to him. Yeah.
So Peter Corso, which I still wonder is the nod to Bill Corso. Bill Corso, he's an effects guy, and I don't know if he had a father who maybe the guys knew about this. Bill Corso seems to be a relatively young man. He did the if I remember, I think Bill Corso is the man who did the Deadpool makeup.
Oh, okay.
There was a Corso involved there. Anyway, I think Kevin Smith worked with him once too. I just want to make sure I'm not getting the wires crossed with the guy behind Yoga Hoses and the guy behind Deadpool. But anyway, fact of the matter is, Peter Corso, he answers the door, and basically it's this criminal element forcing him to fix up Knee Jerk after his shattered knee. Mm-hmm. And this is like, well, this wasn't part of the deal. The deal's whatever we want it to be. Very much kind of a Lando Vader kind of exchange going on there.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Big time.
So the Doctor's in no position to say no. So again, Ed Begley Jr. here, he's doing such a great job here. We give him a really good role. He's a really good guest star because he's captivating in the frame. You invest in this guy before he even says a word. And the guy, he feels lived in. He feels like a true, like a well-established character in one episode, which is what you're aiming for, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, if it was just the cyber technology and the hoodlums, I think this episode would be really lame. Like this guy is absolutely like the heart and soul of this episode for sure.
Yeah. So the Doctor, again, really good exchange here. Again, it's kind of fun foreshadowing to the future as well. Where it feels a little Albuquerque verse-esque,
Mm-hmm.
Feels a little kind of like a nacho situation, to be frank. So anyway, though, so
a little bit, yeah, I can see that.
So the Doctor makes a very smart observation here. He points out that he's missing a servo motor. Well, if anyone finds that, they can leave a trail to, hey, don't worry about that. Okay, don't worry about stuff that's not your business. Just shuts them down. A lot of ego on young Harold here. All right, meanwhile, we cut, again, really good transitions in this episode, too. We go from talking about the servo to cut to the servo in the Batcave. Terry smartly recognizes the servos that are in the suit. He's been looking at the suit ever since it came to life and attacked him that one time. He's been looking into the suit a little bit.
And you know what, Dragon? I'm just realizing, is this the only scene we get with Bruce Wayne this episode?
No. He's at the end very memorably, Tiki.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Bruce Wayne has 3 scenes in this episode. One's an exposition scene, then there's this scene, and then there's the end scene, which is really
cool. Okay, and this scene is also pretty much exposition.
It is. You're not wrong.
I'll say, like, the past few episodes, it's been very light on Bruce Wayne, but you're right. The end scene it is pretty memorable, and that's obviously where the great Conroy stuff is going to be. So,
yeah. So Bruce examines the circuitry on a hunch. Basically, he's figuring there's something. He recognizes it too. He says, "I bought them from this doctor who's like the cutting edge of prosthetics, Dr. Corso. I'm gonna keep looking at the circuitry because he has a hunch that there's something unique about it, and that's gonna pay off later." He suggests that Terry make a house call.
Okay, I love the way that Terry makes the house call, by the way. We'll get into that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, Knee Jerk. Knee Jerk gets...
That's a solid name for this guy, by the way.
It is.
Knee Jerk.
Plus, he was very rude to Corso.
He's got metal knees, and he's a jerk.
Yeah, he is a pretty big jerk. He keeps yelling at Corso, and he's just like trying to help him out.
Sometimes your villain names are just that simple, Dragon.
Yeah. All right, so knee jerk, he's all fixed up, but Dr. Corso, he's not offering these guys coffee and cake. There are no pleasantries to be had
I
here.
love that line, and tell me that line doesn't sound like a fucking Clifford Main line.
It does. It does
Doesn't it?
indeed.
Well, Jimmy, excuse me if I don't offer you coffee and cake on your way out, Jimmy.
You'll excuse me, Jimmy, if I don't offer you coffee and cake. I'd like you to leave.
It totally feels like a Clifford Main line.
Yep.
It's like he's being as polite as he can, but he's not going to take any shit.
Exactly. Like the desk scene.
Oh my god. All right, just to shout out Kogias a little bit more, he says that means Ed Begley Jr. has had at least 4 Batman roles.
That's true.
Honestly, I could see him fitting right into the Nolan verse as well. I know he wasn't ever actually in the Nolan verse, but could we just see him in there?
He could have been. No, he wasn't, but I actually buy him in that.
All right, Kogias also says the Enforcers were introduced in the 10th issue of the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, because the first
that actually makes sense why I don't remember them, because as you remember, Dragon, I read my Spider-Man comics through the Marvel Essentials line, which was the black and white reprints.
Uh-huh.
I did not have the first volume of Amazing Spider-Man. I had the second volume. So that makes sense why I would have literally skipped over that issue.
And you gotta remember, early Spider-Man was literally like the introduction of the Rogues in those first issues. Like,
right.
It was like every week we got to create a new villain. Essentially, it was that early on. Where it was like you have Chameleon, we got Vulture, we got Chameleon, Vulture, the Enforcers, Green Goblin.
I had the Essential Spider-Man Volume 2, which got into a lot of the Green Goblin stuff. And then I also had Essential Spider-Man Volume 7, and one of the big plot lines that was going on during that run was all the Doc Ock, Aunt May stuff.
Yeah. I think Green Goblin was like issue 14, but I could be wrong.
All right. Anyways, Kogias also says Nietzsche could have been a nice guy if only he was named Knee Nice. Now Nice. Is that how you say her name? DC Nice? You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, right? Neat. Well. Yeah.
Recent Emmy winner, Niecy Nice, by the way.
Well, it's Niecy Nash, actually. But
okay. I'm sorry.
But you could look at it as like Nicey Nash,
right?
She's really swell though. She's really, she's a real, and she honestly look.
She was the best part of that Dahmer show for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I do really like her as an actor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, Monster or Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. I'm terribly sorry.
In all seriousness, she is quite delightful, though.
Indeed.
Plus, I think I never watched it, but I heard she was really funny in Reno 911.
Oh, yeah, she is really good. I keep forgetting that's where she comes from. Yeah, she's really solid in Reno 911. Yeah.
That's where she really got her start.
Yeah, for sure. And she was one of the standouts. And I think it was her and Thomas were the big.
Right. Are you hitting your microphone by chance? Okay. Let me see if we have any more comments here real quick. Okay. Yep.
You can't hear me?
Well, no, I can hear you now. So, have you been like tapping the mic by accident or anything? Yeah, I think we might be having some mic issues. Okay. So, let's see the recap where we left off here. Okay, so again, Bruce has the servos lead there, knee jerk. He's all fixed up. Sorry. Okay, so knee jerk. He's all fixed up. Dr. Corso's not offering coffee or cake anytime soon. Harold tries to make nice with the good doctor by paying him in jewels for his trouble. But Corso's not having any of that. No. He just slaps out. Already, this guy's becoming infinitely more interesting. Like, this guy's not taking wealth, he's not taking money, he's not taking payoffs. He's like, you know what I want, because he wants something, but he doesn't want wealth. He doesn't want like ill-gotten gain. It's not even like a principle thing. He's like, no. I want what you took from me, and we're hyping up the mystery too, because it's not like a full-on. There's a bit of a mystery going on as to what. I guess just from the initial sell of the Doctor, like, we see this guy's just the guy's already very interesting. He's not getting any sleep. Someone's eating at him. He's forced to work with these criminals. He clearly doesn't want to do it. Like, you want to know more. Like, how does he end up in this situation? What does he want? So, again, we're going to build up to what exactly he wants. Anyway,
You literally can't hear me at all?
well, no, I can hear you. I thought you were, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have my other laptop. I am getting it set up right now. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to switch over, okay?
That's the thing. I thought you were in the process of.
No, I am. I'm just saying I'm going to drop out right now, but then I'll come right back on the new laptop, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I think we have some comments. I'm going to read those. It says, the name Knee Jerk reminds me of the bronze kneecap from the Fairly Odd Parents. Yes. Oh God. I did love all the body themed Crimson Chin villains. They were always pretty funny. His whole rogue scale was pretty funny. We never really, at least I think in the golden era, Fairly Odd Parents, we never really did a whole lot with them. But when we occasionally did, like, the comic book stuff, it was quite fun. I remember, like, the webcomic, they all combined into, like, this giant, like, God, I forget what it was. They combined almost like Voltron style. They combined into this giant foe. Like the titanium toenail, the bronze kneecap, the iron lung. Yeah. Okay. Anywho, just getting back into it here. So again, he slaps away the jewels. You know what I want. Says, how much longer are we going to be in this?
Hello?
Yeah. Yes. Hello. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, where are we? I apologize.
All right. Let's see. So,
where are we, Dragon?
all right. He turned down the jewels. He says, how much longer am I going to be in this arrangement? Not until we know we don't need you anymore, which is a bad omen.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Also, Kogia says the name Knee Jerk reminds me of the bronze kneecap from Parents. I literally forgot all about the bronze kneecap until you brought it up. Such a fucking ridiculous villain. All right.
Do you remember the deal with the
Warp
bronze
Monarch
kneecap?
in the comments. What?
I'm sorry, I was saying, do you remember the whole deal with the bronze kneecap? The Crimson Chin literally, like, he tripped him by accident, and then he shattered his kneecap. That's why he became a supervillain. That was the origin they gave him.
That's fucking ridiculous. All right, we got Warp
I think
Monarch.
he was a lacrosse player too.
All right, good to see you, Warp Monarch. They say the voice actor for the Doctor is the same one that voiced Charlie from Joker's Favor. Yes, Ed Begley Jr., the great Ed Begley Jr., indeed.
We love it. We love Ed Begley Jr.
So it's fitting that the actor's final role would be a character threatened by a villain. Indeed. It is a nice little kind of mirror of that, for sure.
Yeah.
Kogia says Terry must be really smitten with that woman in the picture. He's been staring at her for about a half hour in this stream.
Oh, she's pretty attractive. I don't know.
Honestly, Dragon, when I first saw the thumbnail, I got really worried because I was like, oh no, is this another episode where Terry's fooling around behind Dana's back?
No, but she does look like Melanie Walker in the right light. I don't know.
Right. All right. Although I will say, Dana has not had the best season. I think Dana in season 2 was a lot more likable.
Well, we're still in season 2, Tiki.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, Dana season 1. I'm sorry.
There you go. All right, there we go. All right. Anyway, we have a great moment of atmosphere. Like, the lights are off, the Doctor's alone. We have the music playing. Like the basically we're having the April Moon score playing. It's not the actual song that they're going to talk about later on, but it's like the idea. It's like kind of essentially the love theme that's playing. And he's looking to the moon, though. We're building to it. Moon. That's what I'm saying. We have this great atmosphere. That's what I'm saying. Right now, Ed Begley Jr. has hijacked the show, which is impressive to
Totally,
me. He's
totally.
hijacked the episode. For a moment, I'm like, you know what? Who Batman? Who? Okay, well, there it is. Just for a moment, just for man, I really want to know more about this guy. And then Batman crashes back in there. Oh right,
Like,
it's his show.
no, it's Batman. Fuck.
Anyway,
What are
so
you doing in this show, Batman?
his love is of course is like walking to the window. He's looking out. He's like he's having kind of his Eddie Valiant moment where he's like thinking about life, and Batman's crashing through the moon. Yeah, so Batman enters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. Kogia says Dana did so little that one of the writers wanted to break Terry and Dana up and have Terry and Max get together. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Terry and Max shipper. You know this.
I do know this.
All right. Anyways.
All right, anyway, so Batman interrogates the Doctor here, and he's asking, like, "What was it? Money, thrills? Why'd you do it?" He's just going straightforward with this Doctor here, not really thinking about any potential mitigating factors here. So he says, "Oh, it's a long story." And again, Ed Begley Jr. charm. He's walking up and he gets the drop on him, but he ejects him by surprise, and Batman's knocked out. Yeah. So he wakes up the next morning. The lab has been cleared out, but Batman has been unharmed. No, not unmasked, not harmed, nothing. A little bit of learning curve there. I mean, Terry got very taken out by like an aged doctor, like a guy probably in his late 50s or something. He's been kind of injected, and again, like he was really over a barrel there. Thank goodness he ran into Dr. Corso. Yeah. All right, so let's see. So Terry, he's really kicking himself for this mistake. If he feels it was a very rookie move. Terry's kicking himself the next day, talking to Max. Max points out the Doctor. There might be an upside here. Well, he could have killed you. He didn't. So what does that tell you?
That is a good point. For sure.
Well, yeah, Max bringing some logic here. Also, she concocts the big plan that you love so much.
She does, and I do love it.
All right, so Dr. Corso, he is setting up his new makeshift lab on the go for the gang. Again, he's basically a mob doctor. He's essentially a mob doctor, but only for a mob of 4. Could be worse, but we have Harold kind of threatening him here, saying, well, it could be worse now. Couldn't it? Couldn't it? Just poking him a little whips. It's like, hey. Acknowledge my threat. You, hey. Anyway, so Corso is called in on an emergency, and he leaves for the chance to do some good. So again, I'm loving this. Let's suggest the Dr. Corso spinoff. It'd be like Dexter by the end, but let's pitch the Dr. Corso spinoff.
Well, it'd basically be like a Dexter origin story. Like, how does someone go from like a good guy to a Dexter type figure?
Exactly. All right, so we go to the West End.
So it'd be like Dexter meets Breaking Bad, essentially.
There you go. All right, so we go to the West End Inn, which I'm sure is just going to be really annoying to say 5 times fast for anyone. So Max and Batman have set a trap. Tiki, tell them what the trap was.
All right, so this is fucking great. The Doctor is going into the room. You called for me, and then Terry, like very meekly, is like, in here. And so we see the patient who is, like straight, like he's hiding under the covers, like head under the covers and everything.
Yep. So you lost both your legs.
Yeah, the Doctor said both your legs were, and then Batman just leaps up from under the sheets. I just love that reveal. I love the visual of Batman in bed. Like, he's basically like Dokes in that moment. He's like, surprise, motherfucker!
Pretty much. Maybe a little less mustachioed flourish, but yes. If you had a mustache, you could absolutely...
Like, just insert that surprise motherfucker like sound bite into this moment, and it would fit so well.
Okay, so Emmys, because I know you're never listening. Emmys. I guess Emmys of
just don't give a shit, Dragon. They just flat out don't give a shit.
I guess so I can berate the Emmy fairy for a second here. Emmys, yes, I'm talking to you, fairy. Emmy fairy, who never delivers.
Ew, Succession.
Someone get the bug spray. Anyway, so seriously, Ed Bigley Jr. here, MVP, almost guest Emmy winning performance here. He breaks down in tears and he's just like, they're gonna kill her. And it's such a real desperation in the
Oh my god,
performance.
no, it feels so real. That is the word for it. It absolutely feels real. Like as soon as he realizes that he's been set up, he just goes into full fucking desperation mode. And you just do not see that with these animated series, Dragon. You just don't. Like honestly, you barely see this level of desperation in like live action. Honestly, like it's genuinely heartbreaking stuff.
And then we get the aspect. It's so funny that one of the best parts of this episode has no Batman in it at all.
Right, right.
So we have this great sequence where Ed Bigley Jr. just acts, man. He freaking acts. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
really acts. The Emmys aren't going to listen, but this man can act, folks.
I will say though, Dragon, during this flashback, I was suspicious of this woman from the jump.
Yeah, maybe that's kind of the point, though. Maybe it's again you, the audience. I think you can take it both ways.
I was like, I don't know. This seems a little too convenient that the nurse would just fall head over heels for this guy. You know, I don't know.
I like that there is a little bit of ambiguity. We don't know when this con started, though.
Right, yeah.
I like there are a couple ways you can look at it. You can either look at
it is his wife, right?
Yeah, you see how they meet, and then he marries her.
I mean, so that is like, that is a long con. Like a long.
However, remember, he proposed to her kind of fast though, 6 months.
Yeah, but still, just going through the actual like courtship and getting married and stuff just for the sake of the con.
I mean, look, I don't think that she was in on it from the start, personally. But
you think that like once she was kidnapped, she like kind of got the hots for Bullwhip? You think that's what's going on?
I have a theory. We'll get there. So hold on one second. I'll pinpoint it in a second.
Bullwhip Griffin. Do you remember Bullwhip Griffin Dragon?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just every time I hear the word Bullwhip, the name Bullwhip, that's what I think of is the adventures of Bullwhip Griffin. Look it up on Disney Plus, kids. It's some really weird 70s live action shit. Anyways.
Okay. Anyway, but that thing, I like you can kind of read it at face value or not, where it's like on one hand you could look at it as like, oh man, this is a really nice meet cute. On the other hand, it's like, yeah, this really is too good to be true. I feel bad for the doctor.
It's very much a too good to be true scenario for
and
sure.
you can kind of sense that this poor guy, he's dying here over her well-being, and he's being led astray. It's horrible.
Uh-huh.
But again, you can look at it either way though. I mean, personally, I like to think it started as an actual attraction, but they rushed into it, and then that's why it was so easy to turn. That's what I think happened. That's
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
So anyway, so we have the photo. We have the big photo, which is our image here, namesake of the episode, April with the moon behind her. So we get the backstory, which is really good. Ed Bigley Jr. acting here. So it's he's been working. This man worked day and night over 20 years, helping people with his expertise in bionics and replacement surgeries and everything. Probably ran like his own clinic and everything. So April is his new nurse. She shows up one day, and they have like an old movie kind of like perfect meet cute here.
Oh, it is like a femme fatale entrance. I thought.
That's what I'm saying. They're going for the noir thing. So this very much feels like a noir. It feels like a noir entrance of like, then she walked into my office sort of thing. It feels like a noir entrance. Totally. Also, you know what? I'm going to go deep on this. You ready to see how deep I can go on this?
All right, do it.
Okay. Feels very classic comic book, or more accurately, classic comic book art. This feels like a Jack and Roz Kirby kind of situation, man. This feels like a nod to like the journeymen in comics, where it's like the guys who are like working to the bone until they can't see.
No, yeah, I totally see what you're saying. Yeah, for sure.
The wife or the girlfriend like walks in and then props him up with some cereal, and then that's like that. There's an honest, like really sweet, sincere moment there, and that feels so true to life. That's got to be like almost like a Roz Kirby story to me. That's what it feels like. That's the thing. So she offers him this cereal. One, she's a knockout design wise. She looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Nice voice. And anyway, so she offers him some cereal. It's like flaky flakes. This is for children. I have a feeling when you were a kid, you didn't even try these. And he did, and that's nice. And he says like, that was it, a bowl of cereal, and I was smitten. It's a nice meet cute. So then, we then learn over the course. couple of weeks later, that's the thing. I don't know if he said weeks or months. It might have been weeks. That's what I'm saying. If he
Okay,
said,
if it's weeks, then yeah,
like, do you have the
that
do you
is
have the
very much rushing into it.
do you have the subtitles?
Oh, I do. Let me
That's the thing, because you might be able to pinpoint. I think it says a couple of weeks, unless I'm thinking of.
I don't know if he says it, and I don't want to like drag it
No, no. I
out.
mean, the line is in there. There's a line telling you how much time passes.
Is it before or after he gives her the ring?
It's right before the ring. It transitions us into the ring. He says it, and then she walks in for the ring.
Okay.
Says
Well,
the whole thing. This is the bowl of cereal line. Then
keep going on the recap. I'm gonna
that's
try
what I'm
and
saying. So what happens is he says, bowl of cereal was enough to have him smitten. Then I believe a couple weeks later, there's something in this beaker he asked her to clean, and it's the ring.
yeah, he
And
said a couple weeks.
there you go, couple
Uh-huh.
weeks.
So, Wart Monarch, to answer your comment, was April already in cahoots with Bullwhip or join after getting kidnapped? We think it's a little bit of both because we just think that 2 weeks was just like way too much to rush into a marriage, and because of that, she was probably having some doubts, and that's probably what got her to flip so easily.
That's what I think happened.
But we don't know for sure, but it's just kind of like speculating.
So again, nice moment. She tackles him in the kiss, which is kind of nice. And that I don't think that's fake, but who knows? I don't know. It feels nice. It was a nice proposal.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I feel like that wasn't fake, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, like after she thinks about it a little bit, she's probably like, "Oh my god, like 2 weeks." Like Dragon, I told a girl that I was dating that I loved her after like a month, and that was too much. That was too much. Like, yeah, you can't rush into this sort of shit.
So here's the reason I say I don't think it was from the beginning, because after a couple of weeks with her proposals, is 6 months ago, Harold. Actually, I'm sorry,
Harold was hungry.
Yes. So forgive me. He says 6 months ago. Now I don't know if that means 6 months before the weeks of courtship or not. That's what I'm unsure about, because he's just saying weeks later into them knowing each other this happened, but it sounds like 6 months ago in where we are now this happened. So I think that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was like 6 months and then get married. No. So point being, just getting back on focus here. 6 months ago, Harold, aka Bullwhip, he gets a wrist replacement surgery, and he gets the idea to use it for criminality. He's like, this can give people power on the streets. You can put all sorts of stuff in these implants or make them dangerous. And he's like, I have everything I want. I don't need money. He doesn't need money. He's everything he ever wants. And I think this gives Harold the idea. So for me, I think at this juncture, Harold reached out to her and they concocted the plan.
Ooh, I could see that.
That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
I think she's having doubts, and he's probably bringing up, look at the dead end. Like, this guy's been working for 20 years, doesn't have any money or anything, because she says he could never afford. She's clearly materialistic. I think she might have got into it because this guy's like, everyone wants to marry a doctor, but this guy doesn't really make any money, like I would imagine. Perhaps she's a bit of a gold digger. Who knows? Maybe there was an attraction there, but maybe an attraction with like an ulterior motive to some degree that then gets unromanticized by Harold saying, hey, let's be partners. Don't partner with that guy, partner with me. So anyway, so Harold has kidnapped April to force, in quotes, Dr. Corso to give him upgrades, essentially. So he calls April to make sure that it makes the deal, essentially, because April's like on the other line to prove that she's alive. But again, it's at this juncture anyway, slice it, either whether it was right after the kidnapping or a little before the kidnapping, she's playing him like a fiddle here.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of sympathy for the doctor as he reluctantly makes this deal, and Batman's calling him out here, says like, look, for you to I'm sorry, we had this really good line too. It pays off in their ending. We really should mention here, where he says, like, what guarantee do I have, Doc? If I'm going to trust you to fool around with my insides, you can trust me.
That's such a fucking gaslighting line, man. That kind of logic gets under my skin, because it's exactly what someone would say if they're trying to gaslight you.
Oh man, I love Stan Berkowitz's writing. It's really good. All right, so then we learn the April Moon. So April Moon, that's it's like the song. Apparently, April Moon's like a song from the '90s. So it's kind of funny. They're looking back to the '90s like it's an old song.
I'm gonna look up. Am I familiar with the band?
You might be.
Song by Bobby Caldwell. I am not familiar with that, but yeah, it came out in 1999. That's fucking weird. But that's actually kind of funny because it's like they're basically saying that a contemporary song is now an oldie. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Think about it. This is like when Batman Beyond starts. Is like the actual year, like when it's airing, is 99. So it's kind of.
You know what is? You know what's very sad though, Dragon?
What?
We're at a point where like late 90s, early 2000 stuff is starting to be played on classic rock stations.
Oh god.
It's true. It's true.
That's not true. That's impossible.
I'll never forget when I heard MIA's Paper Planes on a classic rock station. I was like, no, no. Anyways,
you know how soon Smash Mouth's going to be on classic rock.
It might already be there, dude. Seriously.
Yeah. The day when Hey Now You're an All-Star is like considered like an oldie. That's when we'll know.
Like I said, man, I don't think we're far off from that. I really don't.
Anyway. Okay. So Batman then calls out, he calls out the sympathy. While sympathetic, he calls out like, "Hey, look, you made those guys in the monsters course. That isn't right. They're going to hurt a lot of people." He says like, "No. There's a way to stop them. There's a fail safe. Only the Doctor knows what the fail safe is." And he's gonna enact it only when he knows that April's safe. So that's the thing. The Doctor does like, I'm not gonna let these guys get away with it, and he did put him in there, and he has like a failsafe. He's smart. This is a really smart character here, but it's like the old hostage rules. You don't call the cops. You don't want to risk anything happening to her.
Sure.
Yep. And he's gonna do it, Tiki, with relish. Yeah. You don't want to. Ed Begley Jr. seeking revenge is still such a really.
That's the thing about Ed Begley Jr., man. It's like he can be such a nice guy until you piss him off. I mean, that is the thing about his acting style.
Oh, yeah. Because he's always so even keeled most of the time too, which makes it even.
But when he's not, it's fucking scary.
See, there's a moment again. I just can't wait to get to it this year. Honestly, on one of the anticipated podcasts is when we do the Page Master.
Oh, wait, is Ed Begley Jr. in that?
Yes, he is.
Wait. Who does he play in that?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, does he play Adventure?
No.
Who?
He doesn't. He's not a voice. He's in live action. He plays the dad.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. Wow. That's crazy.
There's a moment in there that's very much as like loving father, but he's clearly ticked off with the kid.
Anyway. Oh, yeah, I am very much. That is also one of my most anticipated podcasts of the year, Dragon, for sure.
I can't wait to rave about Christopher Lloyd in that, but we'll get there. Anyway, point being, it's not activated by. He says, "Well, what if you have to get close enough to hit a button or something?" So, there's no switch or buttons. So before Batman can press as to how do you activate it. The gang crashes the conversation. The Doctor instantly sells Batman out to protect his dad.
Right.
Thank God you're here. Just show him.
It's a trap! It's a trap!
You see the shock on Batman, like, what the? Like, hey, man, we just had a whole backstory.
So that's the thing. It's like, even though this guy is sympathetic, like, he is opportunistic at the same time. Like, he is
not opportunistic. He's on his own side in all this.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not necessarily cheating bad, but he has to keep up the facade. He doesn't want them to kill Batman, but he kind of like, hey, look, man, you came here, you trapped me in the first place. This is what you get. Yeah, I have it in hand, at least he thinks. Okay, anyway, so we have some fight going on here. You're the good doctor. You're a good doctor, but you got no street smarts. And then he leaves during the fight. They figure he got spooked and ran. Again, we get a cool fight going on here. Batman drops a smoke pellet and escapes, and the gang take this as a victory. Like, oh man, we had Batman on the ropes. He ran away from us. Yay, us! And they're going back to the hideout. Batman, again, Terry's getting better. Terry had the bright idea. I'm going to track him to their lair. I'm going to pretend to lose the fight, and I'm going to follow him home. So yeah, he's going to solo trap his own there.
He's really putting in that detective work this episode.
Yeah. So Bruce, meanwhile, in the second of the three Bruce Wayne scenes, you have this really trippy shot too of like we're zoomed in on the circuitry, so everything around him is black except for like the little red circuitry. It looks kind of cool. Basically, get some exposition here that there's a cutoff switch in the circuitry. So like, yeah, I know that, but I don't know how to activate. So did you know it's voice activated? Let's see. So basically, it's whatever. And again, Bruce Wayne still being the world's greatest dad, he deduces like, well, it's not going to be something that's going to be said in casual conversation, or else it'll be activated. It's going to be something
Right,
that's significant to the Doctor. And we have this funny exchange, where like, really, is that the best you can do? I'm only human. I keep forgetting. Good banter, good bat
I
banter.
mean, it does give him the he had to sit on it for a while, but it does give him the edge eventually.
Oh yeah. Okay, so then we get to the third act, which is like the best part of the episode, next to that backstory segment. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
So outside the hideout, the Doctor is hiding with Batman. He followed Batman, following them there because he knew he was going to try something like this. Again, the fact that he was smart enough to know that okay, Batman clearly wouldn't be outfoxed by these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna tell me what the secret word is? Which a part of me would really love to clip out and use on the debates. I gotta be honest. If I were ambitious. Anyway, so if anything happened, so again, he's saying, no, I'm not going to tell you the secret word because if anything happened to her, and then big reveal, April's there, and she ain't being held prisoner.
No, not at all, man. I mean, they go in for a kiss, and it's a passionate kiss.
It's a soul-crushing. Seriously, this is such a great soul. Even if it's not coming out completely nowhere, again, you have a feeling. Even if it's not, I don't think it's necessarily total, but you have a feeling though.
Like I said, I had a feeling that it was too good to be true. That was my feeling. Yeah,
there's something there, but you don't think you expect it to be this painful. I don't think you imagine it to be like, oh, not only is she in on it,
when I talk about pain, man, like what I love about this moment, and what I love about how Ed Begley Jr. performs it, is that he is not angry, he's not upset, he is genuinely
destroyed,
hurt.
Yeah,
hurt is the word I would use, and it's. Like, it is so emotionally raw, Dragon. Like, honestly, this is going to sound silly for, like, a random episode of Batman Beyond, but this might be one of the most emotionally effective, like, scenes of someone realizing that they're being cheated on that I've ever seen, honestly, because it's, like, just the genuine pain is just so real, you know?
So she's been in on the whole thing, and not only that, she is involved with Bullet. Lays a kiss on him right in front of like the actual loving husband. Oh boy, and again, technically could be from the very start. Could be just like right before after Bullet makes his offer, or it could just be like, hey, you're kidnapped. I'll be nice to you. You want to?
Right? It could be. You never know.
Want to cheat your husband? Do you want to do stuff?
You want to fool around a little?
Yeah, I mean, they got like tendrils in my wrist. I don't know.
Oh my god!
So Corso is in hysterics here. Just
what kind of weirds me out about this?
What?
The age gap between Bullwhip and the Doctor.
Yeah.
Bullwhip is a much younger man than the Doctor.
But that's the other thing too. You gotta wonder again: is it the classic thing of older men and younger women with the initial marriage, or is that like again her like initial gold digging, like what she thinks is a rich doctor? Right,
yeah.
But you're right though. It is icky, but intentionally icky.
Sure.
So we have this. The Doctor's in hysterics. He's in like a real sad frenzy with the wailing.
I mean, I love how he is so distraught that Batman literally has to hide him.
I know. I love
that. Is such a realistic version of what someone's actual reaction to something like this would be.
Just the terrible timing of it all too. Like he's like walking over barrels and everything, and like and that's a Batman that has to shove him in the cellar, which pays off great because they don't see the Doctor, which is great. So then Batman's taking on the thugs. Good fight. I like how Bullock gets taken out like with the lamppost, which is really cool.
I think the most memorable element of this fight is the way that kneecap literally gets literally gets kneecapped.
He ain't the bronze kneecap, Tiki. Get it? So Terry in the middle of the fight, they're having this. And a really cool fight there. Anyway, so Terry is on his heels during this fight. He's on his back, and Knee Jerk has been instructed to essentially decapitate Batman with the
Right.
chainsaw. And in this moment, I love the editing on this. I love the tension in this fight. Is why I love Act 3. Like, right, the last moments when we play out Shirley Walker's score and everything. And you hear is he said the quick flashes where he realized Batman's thinking back to the picture, and he says like April Moon. And the body horror that's at play here, kids. Seriously, this is hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Already, just in the self.
The funny thing is, this isn't even technically the most disturbing element of the last act.
No, it's not. But still, it's just like already like the body modification thing. We overthink it, but then it's like, oh god, when it's undone, like Knee Jerk is screwed. Okay, that guy,
yeah,
deeper than anyone. Again, honestly, when you look at it, the most impractical of all the body modifications, because I think if he just falls, he's done for. Which we see a number of times. His blades keep breaking and hitting the thing. It looks like it hurts. So the joints completely sever. So like I wonder, like if the legs and the calves are real or not. But it's like he's a quadriplegic, man, and not just like he would happen to be a quadriplegic who got limbs. No. This guy opted to become quadriplegic.
Yeah. Which is kind of a cool like metaphor about how people take the body modification thing too far.
Exactly, yeah. So he's presumably that can't be undone unless the doctor does it himself. So he's screwed, and he's like the genius in his field. So that guy's screwed for life. And imagine the horror too of just like imagine if the limbs are if the limbs are genuine. It's like, oh god, your leg's right there. Could be reattached if not for all the metal stuff that you had put on the edges.
Right.
Mr. Cauterized Vader, sir. Anyway, so a Bullet makes an exit as he sees the tide is not turning his way. Again, we're kind of trying to play this guy like a Nacho of sorts. We're trying to play this guy as a smart street thug, but again with an ego though, so not smart like Nacho per se, but Anyway, so Bullet makes an exit. Okay, this scene is great, but admittedly something does occur to me on the rewatch. It never occurred to me before. It's nice, but it's really odd. We're in Wayne Manor. It's so odd seeing Terry in the suit with the mask off, but in Wayne Manor and not in the cave with Bruce.
Yeah, you know what? That is a good point. That is kind of an interesting little dichotomy that we don't often see.
It's not a deal breaker, but I think it's the first time I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've ever seen like Terry just in costume with the mask off in Wayne Manor. Anyway, so we have this really nice little back and forth, good dialogue scene here. Again, it's kind of the end wrap up dialogue, but again with the noir flair to it, where it's like I was searching for the doctor, but I just didn't have the heart to keep on searching. And Bruce has a nice line here. He says like, "I understand." Where he's like he's relating to Terry here. He's like saying, "Yeah, I know. I've had like the Victor Freezes in my past too, where it's like sometimes you don't want to have to put them away, but you kind of have to."
Right. Exactly. Which, by the way, I'm glad you mentioned that because, like, I want to get it in before this episode's over. Do you think there's any sort of Victor Freeze parallel here with this guy?
I think to some degree, yes, because I mean he is a doctor, is a love story, and this is a guy who's impacted by crime, and I think there's some parallels there. I think just it's in the shadow of Heart of Ice in a good way. I think there is a bit of that built into the DNA. I don't think it's like deliberate, like we want to tell the same story, but I think it's like they knew what worked and they know what's effective. If we're going to do a doctor, we want to. Again, it's like, for example, it's the love story, but with a twist. So it's definitely it's kind of a Victor Freeze with a big twist.
Sure.
In that regard. So it's also like Bruce relating to the whole victims thing. Sometimes these victims' lives get completely ruined, by what we do. So he understands why he doesn't want to go too hard after the doctor. But then we have this great thing where Bruce asks, "Hey, by the way, does Bullwhip know the doctor saw him with April?" He's like, no, he definitely doesn't. He was out. I hit him away before any of that happened. And oh god, great Conroy. Maybe Bullwhip won't be coming back.
Oh yeah.
Why do you say that? And again, I love that we don't get an answer to this. We don't spell it out. We just have this great, perfect noir ending, which is why I love this episode. It's the fact that it's so messed up. Bullwhip is on the table. He's on the table, still lying. He says, "Oh yeah, don't worry. April's doing fine. I think you'll be able to see her real soon. But look, when you go in there, want you, don't hold back, okay? I want to be better than before.
This guy is like literally every word he says, it's just like, oh no, you should not be saying that, bro. You should not be saying that. You are literally just giving this guy ammunition right now.
Tiki, this is such a perfectly composed sequence because you have like Ed Bigley Jr. just going, and the very end, then you have like the music, the April Moon music playing, which again is the whole reason for what's about to happen to him. And this is like, sure, remember, no holding back, Duck. Of course, no holding back. He's like,
wouldn't dream of it.
Wouldn't dream of it. Has like the drill going, and oh god, it's so horrifying. It's like, there's no hold back. Dear God, what are you? So we have some speculation in the comments as to what happens. What do you think happens?
I think the dude literally just became all machine. Like, it's one of those situations where it's like, you know, to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, he's more machine now than man. Like, I don't know. I think maybe he could have turned him into like his own personal like robot butler or something.
I think. Oh god, I have a much. We have a number of theories. Okay, so in the comment, Warp Monarch says, "I assume that April returned to the Doctor only to be lobotomized." She'll. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's horrifying too.
That is horrifying, and that's a lot. Like, the thing about this ending is that it's still dark, but like obviously the guy on the receiving end of it deserves it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas April, like, to some extent, she probably deserves it, but you know, she's obviously a little bit more of an innocent bystander in all this. A little bit. We don't know the full extent. We've been speculating on it.
I mean, I think she's very complicit. I don't think the Doctor should lobotomize her. I don't think he would do that. I don't think he's that twisted. Because I mean, everything here so far is warranted. These guys did ruin his life completely, and that guy did get to her at some point. But again, there is some ambiguity. Like, was she in it for the money from the start, though? And in one shape or another. But anyway,
Kogias says Kids WB wanted Batman Beyond to be lighter than the animated series, but it's
just why I wrote that line into the description. By the way,
it is absolutely, this show is absolutely like, maybe not like on an episode by episode basis, but the episodes where it does get dark, it gets dark.
So here's a horrifying theory I have.
Okay, oh god, okay.
Okay, this is gonna be really messed up, so bear with me. What if? But it does make you think, though, because this happens. I assume this happens one of two ways. Okay, the tamer way that probably is implied to happen is, maybe he doesn't put the anesthetic. Did you remember if he put the mask down before he started drilling?
I can actually check.
Yeah, check and see if he puts the mask down before drilling or not.
Okay, it's going to take a minute, though, because the episode already switched to the next episode on Max, so
yeah,
it's going to take me a minute.
Warp Monarch says I was around 6 to 8 years old, and I even know.
I love that line. That's a great observation. Right. In the meantime, folks, as I'm looking for this, a little bit of shameless self-promotion, keep voting on the Golden Tikis, people. That's right. I know Best Production Design wasn't the most exciting award. We're coming out tomorrow with Best Visual Effects. And then after that, it's all above the line categories. Best Screenplay, Best Director. We're getting into the acting category. So yeah, keep up with it. The Golden Tikis on the community tab. Anyways, Dragon, what was the question?
Okay, do we see the anesthetic mask come down before he strikes the pose with the drill at the very end?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right. So maybe it's okay.
We do.
Okay. Well, initially I was thinking perhaps
you're thinking like, oh, he's gonna like drill into him, and then have the anesthetic.
I was thinking, like, what if he just doesn't give him the anesthetic and he just basically performed the surgery that way? Or what if he didn't give him enough anesthetic so he wakes up just to see the horror of what he's doing?
Oh, God.
But here's the actual...
Can I just say, I don't know if I've ever brought this up on the podcast. I'm sure I have at least once or twice. You and I kind of share, like, a little bit of a phobia of medical stuff.
I'm utterly paralyzed by it.
And in that regard, anesthesia awareness is, like, literally one of my worst nightmares.
I can't stand the idea of being awake during a surgery.
Well, that's what anesthesia awareness is. Anesthesia awareness is when, they can't tell that your mind is awake, but your mind is awake.
Yep.
And it's utterly horrifying to me.
Anyway. Well, yeah, here's the most, oh, God. It's just utterly horrifying, though. What if he replaced everything on him while, like, after the initial surgery, he's like, what if he been quadriplegic and then just kept replacing parts of him while he's cognizant of it, while he's awake and while he's aware of what's going on. Basically,
Oh,
I guess
man.
what I'm getting at is, like, what if he kept him up, used his medical know-how to keep him alive and destroy his humanity piece by piece over
I
the
could
course
see
of
that. I
like
could see that.
over the
Yeah.
course of like just being that good, to like into the last piece would be his heart. But then he'd still keep him alive with like an artificial heart.
Oh my god.
Like there you go. Like what if it is like basically what if it is your idea of like like complete, but he's aware of it though as it's happening. Like each step by step piece, like death by a thousand cuts, so to speak. But there's just everything there, the song playing in this little no holding back, and we leave it ambiguous. We don't know the answers, but yeah, it's a classic noir ending.
Sure.
All right.
All right, Kogias, the Golden Tikis. This is the first annual Golden Tikis, but by all means, I do intend on making it annual. All right, so yeah, final thoughts. I mean, I think this is a damn good one, man. I mean, I think it's not quite in the like S tier of season 2 episodes, but I'd say it's solidly in the A tier. I really enjoyed it a lot. Obviously, Ed Begley Jr. brings a lot to it. If it weren't for him, I think this episode would be really lame, but he is in there, so this episode's really good.
Never underestimate the power of Ed Begley Jr. Kids. Top tier actor. I agree with an earlier comment where yes, it is really nice to see kind of him closing the loop on the DCAU with Batman in a sense with Batman Beyond. Going from the victim to a victim who very much again both victims do get one over on their tormentor in both episodes. So it is very cyclical in that way. I really do love this episode. Honestly, I mean, I've never hunkered down to do it, but if there were a top 10 list, I mean, I'd be shocked if this were not on it somewhere. I've always had a great fondness for this
I
episode.
definitely think that once we're done with this, like once we're done with Batman Beyond, I definitely think we should consider doing like an ambitious ranking of all Batman Beyond and Batman the Animated Series episodes. I would be down for that as like the next phase of the animated Batcave.
Well, the thing we got to figure is if we want to do two of those rankings, there's one big one or the big one. Well, that's neither here nor there at the moment. But yes,
It'll be easier to do 2 of them, but it might be more interesting to just rank Batman Beyond against Batman the Animated Series. Just have it be a total free for all.
Anyway, again, sir, I've always had a lot of love for this one. I still rewatching it. It's like, man, it holds up so well. I mean, look, it holds up very well in the things I remember working about. And again, accepting the fact that the villains are just purely a cool aesthetic. That's all they are. If you accept that, then yes, it holds up exactly as well as I remember
it. Totally.
So, yeah.
All right, so big thanks to Kogias and Warp Monarch in the comments, as always. And take us out, Dragon. What's up next?
Tron turned lethal. Star Wars references. Harry Knowles. Can Batman combat fandom? Will this ridiculous farce kill a man? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Dragon. What's the episode? Because I don't have it. When I switched browsers, I don't have it. So what is the episode? I'm sorry.
Can't believe you forgot this title. Centuries of the Last Cosmos.
Centuries of the Last Cosmos. Well, it's a wordy title. I knew it
well,
was.
That's why you should remember the wordy one.
All right. Anyways. All right. Have a good night, folks.